Are legends of mermaids and centaurs nothing more than products of human imagination? I used to think so, until I saw these pieces of footage with my own eyes. From human hybrids with hollow, lifeless faces to an entire werewolf tribe lurking in the remote landscapes of Iceland. Who exactly are we sharing this planet with? Join Steve as we peel back the fragile boundaries between myth and reality right now. You have just watched the opening seconds of this clip, and I know exactly what you are thinking. But hold that judgment for a moment. This video is believed to come from Caleb H. Morrison, a reckless explorer known for breaking into abandoned structures. This time, Caleb stepped into a decaying zoo in the Rust Belt of northern Ohio, a place the government reportedly abandoned and withdrew all personnel from decades ago. Do you see it? A woman, half human and half horse, possessing a strange, seductive beauty, yet with skin so pale it feels unsettling, and eyes so dark and deep they resemble bottomless voids. She is bound tightly by old iron chains, as if she has been imprisoned there for centuries. Caleb claims the creature was actively trying to lure him in. Watch the way she tilts her head, the way her thin fingers lightly brush against the chains. Every movement is slow and deliberate, like a predator using beauty to lower its prey's guard before delivering a fatal strike. I do not have solid proof to tell you this is real. This footage is believed to be a reconstruction based on testimony. But the level of detail, the atmosphere, and the unnatural progression of events are exactly what make it impossible for many viewers to look away. And this is only the beginning. I have several more pieces of evidence pointing to the existence of centaurs coming up right after this clip. The next segment opens on a barren hillside, scattered with loose rocks and jagged stone, looking more like the Badlands of the American West than a place tied to ancient legend. And then, right in the middle of that landscape, a figure appears that instantly shatters every familiar proportion of the natural world. The upper body is clearly that of a man, with defined shoulders, neck, and arms, dark hair lightly moving in the wind, while from the waist down is the full body of a horse, stepping steadily along the slope. The entity moves slowly, occasionally turning its head to scan the surroundings, the way a wild animal does when it senses something unfamiliar nearby. There is no sign of haste, and it does not move like a performer trying to put on a show. That natural, unforced behavior is exactly what makes it hard for the viewer to shake a feeling of unease, as if the camera accidentally captured a creature that does not belong to our time. In Greek mythology, the centaur represents raw nature and untamed instinct, and seeing a similar form appear in a desolate place like this makes the line between myth and reality feel frighteningly thin. In the following frames, the scene becomes more intense and dramatically charged. A centaur appears, directly confronting a wild horse. The horse tries to turn and flee, its front legs rearing up as dirt explodes into the air, while the centaur stays right behind it with overwhelming strength. The human torso of the centaur leans forward, arms gripping a long staff like a primitive hunting tool, while using its own horse body to press in close and cut off any escape. In a brief close-up moment, you can see the centaur clutching the horse's tail and hindquarters, forcing it down as both bodies spin across the ground together, creating a sense of chaos and raw savagery. The movements are fast, decisive, and instinct-driven, far more like a real hunt than an act of domestication. Watching this segment, I do not see a monster. I see a creature living exactly according to its nature. And the more unsettling question is this: if a human were to stumble upon this scene, who would truly be the intruder? But not every hybrid creature exists in the safety of daylight. A figure so thin that its skin clings tightly to bone steps out of the darkness. Its limbs are unnaturally long, its back hunched, its posture lunging forward like a cornered animal. The head carries an unsettling hybrid appearance. A long snout, a wide-open jaw, exposed teeth. Its eyes reflect light in a way that people who live in rural America know all too well, like the stare of an animal frozen at the roadside when headlights hit it dead on. Standing opposite it is an elderly woman. The moment lasts just long enough to make the viewer feel like they cannot breathe. In Central American folklore, the Nahual is not purely evil. It is a warning about the fragile boundary between humans and the wild part that still lives inside them. And setting aside what is real or fake, this footage makes me think that maybe the fear does not come from that creature at all, but from recognizing a piece of ourselves within it. So tell me, what is going through your mind right now? According to information being circulated, the location is believed to be an old pier or an abandoned seawall along the northern European coast. Images pulled from nighttime security camera footage show a mermaid-like entity sitting motionless on a rock rising out of pitch-black water. The faint blue glow of the camera gives the scene a cold, unreal quality, highlighting an upper body shaped like a woman with long hair flowing down her back, while the lower body is a long fishtail dragging just above the water's surface, catching blurred reflections of light. The entity sits with its back to the camera for the first few seconds, then slightly tilts its head, as if becoming aware of a distant observer. The beings we label as myths may simply exist alongside us, quietly, without needing to be seen. The entire scene echoes the familiar image of the mermaid from legend, a creature often described as both alluring and dangerous. And the question remains, is this just an illusion, a carefully staged setup, or a rare moment when a legendary being revealed itself to a camera lens? Leaving the sea behind, brace yourself as we take a closer look at this disturbing female figure. This image is often linked to what people call the mantis woman, a towering insect-like entity believed to appear in remote mountain regions or deserts of Mexico. The blurry footage shows the outline of a massive insectoid form standing atop a high rock outcrop amid sparse shrubs. From a distance, the creature has human-like proportions, but its posture is deeply unnatural. The upper body held upright, with two long front limbs bent at sharp angles like those of a praying mantis, giving the impression that it is bracing or hanging itself against the rock face. The head is small and tapered, slightly angled forward, making the entire silhouette appear both slender and deeply unsettling. The creature remains completely still for several seconds, reinforcing the feeling that it is watching the area below from its elevated position. And sometimes silence itself is the clearest warning sign humans can receive. Do you feel that too? What if I told you that a sheep once gave birth to something that looked human? That is exactly what reportedly happened in Nigeria. On January 22, 2011, at a government-owned veterinary clinic, doctors were alerted when a sheep was struggling during labor. Surgeons were forced to perform an operation, and after the delivery, they were stunned by what they saw. The newborn was a grotesque offspring that appeared to be half human, half animal. I managed to gather several harsh comments from people who witnessed the event. One motorcycle taxi driver claimed, "This is something disgusting in Nigeria. Seeing a sheep give birth to a half-human creature is a mystery, and it shows how bad some people really are. It is unimaginable that some individuals could do strange things with animals." Another witness questioned how something like this could happen in a state considered morally upright like Sokoto, where Islamic faith is deeply rooted. And honestly, when people do not understand something, they often choose to condemn it first. When I look at these images, the first thing that stands out is not the wings. It is the way the body is lying there on the beach. The incident is said to have taken place on a gloomy afternoon along a deserted European shoreline, where the wind blows constantly and no man-made structures are visible anywhere in sight. The girl's body is clearly human in shape, but attached to her back are wings that are far too large, far too heavy, and completely out of proportion with her slender frame. This is not the image of a being in control of flight, but of a body struggling to bear a foreign piece of biology. When she collapses onto the sand, all movement stops. The sea behind her remains calm, as if nature itself refuses to acknowledge her presence. I cannot help but think of ancient legends about fallen angels, not cast down for sin, but because they no longer had a place to return to. But of course, it could all be fake. No one can say for certain. I just want to know, do you believe that angels truly exist? We move to an early morning deep in a dense forest in the northwest, an area crossed by old trails once used by hunters and park rangers decades ago. The entity appears right beside a red dirt path, close enough for its physical structure to be clearly seen. Its entire body is covered in thick gray-brown hair, growing unevenly and clumped together, as if it has existed in a cold, damp environment for a very long time. The body is massive and wide-set, with broad shoulders and a hunched back, giving off a sense of heaviness and age rather than aggression. It does not walk upright, but crawls along the ground like an animal, using its arms to drag itself across layers of wet leaves, then slowly rolling behind a large tree trunk, choosing a familiar hiding spot as if guided by years of survival instinct. And sometimes, the most frightening thing is not the creature in the forest, but the reason it feels the need to hide from us. You know, images like these are often linked to Bigfoot or the so-called wild man, being said to live on the fringes of human society. Take a close look at this abandoned mining pit. Deep within the suffocating darkness underground, a weak flashlight beam sweeps across something I wish I had never seen. It looks like a man, or at least the upper half of a human body, with pale gray skin, dry and lifeless, as if it has not known sunlight for centuries. Veins and ribs stand out beneath the thin layer of skin. But look below the waist. 8 massive spider legs, black and sinewy, are gripping tightly to the rock wall. The expression on that hollowed face is not aggression, but a vacant suffering, a complete disconnection from the human world. I genuinely shudder at the thought that a creature like this could exist right beneath our feet. Is this a mistake of nature or an experiment long forgotten? Honestly, watching those legs bend and twitch, all I can hope is that this is nothing more than someone's extremely convincing special effects prank. But the darkness underground is not the only place where lost souls are confined. Circulating images show a bird-like creature with a human-looking face, locked inside a narrow metal cage secured with crude iron chains. Its body is covered in thick black feathers, with long legs and large talons gripping the straw-covered ground, crouched low as if permanently on alert. But the most disturbing feature is its head. A pale gray face, wrinkled skin, deep-set eye sockets with cloudy, lifeless eyes, combined with a long, sharp beak, forming a warped blend of human and animal. Long, dark hair hanging down both sides makes the figure seem conscious, not merely animal. The space inside the cage is dark, cramped, and sealed, making the creature appear imprisoned rather than kept. It stands completely still, staring straight through the bars, its gaze cold and empty, creating the unsettling feeling that it is watching the viewer, not the other way around. I can feel a deep sadness radiating from this frame. Is there some kind of drug or some kind of curse that could turn a human into a creature locked inside a cage like this? This security camera clip is often circulated under the name Nahual shapeshifting in Mexico. At first glance, the dark figure moving on all fours looks deeply unsettling. Its low posture, hunched back, and head held close to the ground lead many to think of a half-human, half-animal creature. But when the footage is slowed down frame by frame, several details appear far more ordinary. Body proportions similar to a stray dog or a severely underfed domestic dog. Yellow sodium streetlights distorting colors. Heavy video compression warping shapes. And a separated shadow on the road that is easily mistaken for something falling off during a so-called transformation. Because of these factors, the video remains highly controversial. One side believes this is the Nawal legend captured in real life. The other side argues it is nothing more than a wandering animal, with camera angle and poor image quality creating an illusion. To this day, there is no independent evidence confirming anything supernatural. But it is precisely that ambiguity that keeps this footage haunting viewers and spreading online. Now we move to Spain, and I can almost guarantee you have never seen a bird quite like this. Against a backdrop of leafless trees and the dim light of late afternoon, the creature has a body covered in thick black feathers like a large bird, its wings folded tightly at its sides, talons gripping firmly onto a wooden branch. But the most disturbing detail is the head. It is not fully avian, but shaped like that of a mammal, with a short snout, unusual skull structure, and glowing red eyes staring directly into the camera, as if watching the person filming. That silence, combined with the fixed gaze and hybrid form, creates the feeling that this is not an ordinary animal, but a conscious entity. According to accounts accompanying the footage, this is not the first time creatures with bird bodies and mammal-like heads have been seen in this area. Similar reports surfaced before, though without clear images. A forest guardian, an omen, or an unclassified species existing quietly at the boundary between mythology and nature. But not every strange sight comes wrapped in dread. In this shaky, low-quality footage filmed across a sparsely wooded plain, a white horse-like entity with massive wings suddenly appears against brown grass and distant pine trees. At first, the creature lowers its body as if preparing to move, then spreads its wings wide, revealing long feathers stretching nearly the length of its body. As it moves, the wings open to their full span, creating a sense of weight and quiet majesty. This is not the motion of an ordinary bird, but of a large being struggling to lift itself from the ground. Because of the poor image quality and color blur, the creature's shape remains unclear. And somehow, that uncertainty makes the scene feel even more surreal, like a mythological moment accidentally slipping into the modern world. This image is often linked to Pegasus, the winged horse of Greek mythology, born from the blood of Medusa and symbolizing freedom, creative inspiration, and divine power. And when I watch this footage, I find myself wondering, are we trying to explain everything away through denial, simply because we do not want to accept that this world is bigger than our understanding? Finally, we arrive in Iceland, a land steeped in Norse legend, where this video is said to have captured a tribe of werewolves on the move. In the hazy frames of a desolate grassy hillside, we see multiple figures standing upright on two legs, with human bodies and fully wolf-like heads. These are not wild animals. They carry long spears and move in an organized formation, like primitive hunters. The person filming appears too frightened to get any closer, which explains the blurred, washed-out image quality. But look closely at how their leg joints bend backward as they walk. If this were some kind of costume, it would have to be a mechanical masterpiece. I feel a chill run down my spine when I think that in the most isolated places on Earth, species we believe to be extinct or existing only in stories may still be alive and guarding their territory. It looks too much like a movie scene to believe it came from a real camera. But is it true that, deep down, we all carry some belief that creatures like these might actually exist? My goal is to have us look together at these gaps and ask ourselves, if these beings truly exist out there, then who are we in their eyes? Out of all the footage we just watched, which one kept you awake the longest? Or do you have a scientific explanation for the narwhal's transformation? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. I will be there, ready to talk it through with you. And if you have ever accidentally captured something strange on camera, do not hesitate to send it to me. Who knows? Your footage might be the next clue we unravel together in the next episode.